But, you know, we're talking about the abortion stuff and all that, right? I feel like there's a weird misconception that men can't advocate for this stuff too, because we can't truly be feminists because we're not women, which is not true at all. Because people are stupid and don't understand feminism, which is why watching the Sisyphus 55 video, Guide to Bell Hooks, Feminism is for Everybody, which it is.
Feminism can get a bad rap. Male critics perceive feminists as man-hating, tyrannical matriarchs who wish nothing more than to use imagined terms like patriarchy to justify their disdain. Those within the movement may see others as only using the label for virtue signaling, pointing to a lack of coherence and progress in defining feminism. The task of defining and pursuing a feminism that accounts for these critiques is quite tricky. Thankfully, there's bell hooks. This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Isn't the affiliate about the world fun path moments that wonder subscribe town where she struggled? Born as Gloria Jean Watkins, Bell Hooks grew up in a small segregated town where she struggled to find her identity in a rich magical world of Southern Black culture that was sometimes paradisiacal and at other times terrifying. To deal with this, she would read an insane amount, eventually pursuing a BA in English from Stanford and an MA in English at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Okay.
During this time, she would begin a 10-year project, writing the book Ain't I a Woman? Black Women and Feminism. This book had a profound impact on the world when it was finally published in 1981. In it, she examines the double oppression of Black women who experience both racism and sexism. She argues that these twin towers of domination that began in slavery led to Black women having the lowest status and worst conditions out of any minority in the US. This is partially explained by the blind spots in white female abolitionists who preferred to associate with Black male abolitionists rather than females. Specifically, she notes that slavery led to the stereotype of Black female promiscuity, which generalized white women as pure goddess virgins and Black women as seductive stereotypes that were historically used to define all women. This shift was used to justify the exclusion of Black women from sharing their perspectives. Hooks then turns to Black nationalism, criticizing it as being patriarchal and misogynist. She notes that the movement readily took up the idea of the Black matriarch, which argues that the position of Black women in the family has led to a psychological castration of the Black male, and from this, the downfall of the Black family. This has once again resulted in the exclusion of Black women from being taken seriously. Finally, Hooks turns to the feminist movement. She views feminism as largely failing to represent the needs of the poor and non-white women. This in turn enabled further sexism, racism, and classism. She calls for a more inclusive and representative form of feminism that will give Black women a chance to be represented. The book was critically acclaimed, especially in its novel ability to correlate the history of slavery of Black women and the ripple effects of this oppression in modern American society. However, the book was also criticized for being unscholarly in its absence of bibliography, although Hooks explains that such a strategy is necessary to encourage as wide an audience as possible. Others, such as Keisha Nicole Abraham, have argued that this shows that Hooks considers her audience to be lazy and unsophisticated. Hooks would go on to publish over 30 books ranging in topics from Black men, patriarchy, to love and self-improvement. Aside from a controversial anti-American commencement speech she gave shortly after 9/11, Hooks mostly kept herself out of the spotlight. In 2017, she would confess that she had been celibate for 17 years, and although she would like a partner, she didn't feel like her life was any less meaningful without someone. She would pass away from kidney failure at the age of 69.
Dang.
Due to her many interests, Hooks' philosophy encapsulates several interesting topics. Regarding feminism, Hooks provides a critique and her own system of feminism. She argues that feminism has largely lost its radical potential and its intimate connection with radical individualism. For Hooks, feminism does not mean that a woman can do whatever they want and have it all. Instead, being a feminist involves undertaking specific daily actions. From this, she claims that there are actually very few true feminists. This radical individualism, she believed, was a response to the inability for feminism to find solid definition. The central problem within feminist discourse has been our inability to either arrive at a consensus of opinion about what feminism is, or accept definitions that could serve as points of unification. Without agreed upon definitions, we lack a sound foundation on which to construct theory or engage in overall meaningful praxis.
That's very true, though, because I personally, and I feel like this is what he's about to say, feminism means equality and respect among everybody. And, you know, just, like, appreciating people, you know what I'm saying? Like, equality, bro. Because, like, in certain situations, yeah, we need equity over equality, especially when it comes to women. But, like, bro, the fact that literally women have no rights right now, like, come on, bro. We need equality, bro. Everyone should at least have rights. All right, let's at least start there. All right, let's have some rights, and then we can go about everything else. But, like, dude, you know, but, like, I personally feel like radical feminism does more harm than good. Because it's really just separating people more. And it, like, you know, that's not what we need, bro. We need to come together as much as possible. And a lot of radical feminism, just like, you know, any type of radicalized, you know, thought process, whether it be, you know, people that are, you know, pro-black and, you know, all this, or obviously white supremacy and stupidness like that. It's like, if you're like on one side of the spectrum, just like completely radical with it, like, you're doing way more harm than good. Because you're excluding everybody when the whole point of why all this stuff was started is so that everybody could be included and everybody could be treated equally and with respect and all that. It's like, come on.
Definition goes beyond the simplistic definition that fighting for equality equals feminism. As she writes, implicit in this simplistic definition of women's liberation is a dismissal of race and class as factors that, in conjunction with sexism, determine the extent to which an individual will be discriminated against, exploited, or oppressed. Thus, Hooks advocates for a feminism for everybody that includes all those who are exploited. Her definition, clearly stated, is the movement to end sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression. This definition moves away from the anti-male sentiment of some feminist discourse.
Yeah, I personally believe, and this is the same thing with racism, it can go both ways. I feel like if you're talking about feminism and wanting equality for women, and then at the same time, you know, hating men and getting on whatever, it's like, bro, you're literally no better. You're just doing the same thing that they do to you, to them, making generalized statements and hating, you know, another gender for, you know, the acts of probably a small group or misconceptions or whatever it is, you know? Because, like, I understand what they mean, because a lot of people that say that like to, you know, say it very loudly and proudly, and then when people get on them, they, you know, justify what they mean. And it makes sense most of the time, but it's still kind of just like, dude, come on, you know? But
clear that the problem is sexism, a view that all genders have been socialized.
Also, and I said the same thing about racism, like, come on, man. If we're trying to better black people, why are we getting on white people all the time? Why are we beating up Asian people for no reason? Like, it's so stupid, bro. If we just literally respect everyone and love everyone, everything would work out, bro. Not gonna lie.
From birth to accept and justify. As she writes, females can be just as sexist as men.
Exactly.
And while that does not excuse or justify male domination, it does not mean that it would be wrong-minded for feminist thinkers to see the movement as simplistically being for women against men. This revolutionary feminism seeks to end not only sexism, but also class elitism and imperialism. In total, the movement is concerned with ending oppression, which she defines also quite clearly. Being oppressed means the absence of choice. It is the primary point of contact between the oppressed and the oppressor. This line of thinking is used in her stance on abortion, arguing that granting women control over their body, the power to make a choice, is a basic feminist principle. Whether one wishes to undergo an abortion is purely a matter of choice, but the choice itself is the principle.
Exactly, bro. Let's clap it up, man. Gotta top it up, bro. That's literally the whole point, man. The whole point.
Expanded on a larger scale, this project against oppression is seen in her views of the patriarchy. Compared to other feminists, Hooks does not see patriarchy.
I love that he just always recreates the what's it called, Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated building for like anything remotely bad for these videos. Like, I love
as
it.
The totaling structure of domination. Rather, patriarchy functions as a subservient to class structure. She argues that white women tend to see class exploitation as the offspring of the parent system of the patriarchy. Within the feminist movement in the West, this has led to the assumption that resisting patriarchal...
And the worst part about it is, every time I see it, I hear the jingle, bro. Every time. I can't see that building without... Yeah! You see it, bro. Hold on, because I'm not going to play it, bro. I gotta play it. Like, bro, it's just so hard. It's so hard. It's one of the hardest jingles ever. Hold on, no, because I gotta pull it up. Yeah.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Like, it's so after hours. Yo, the after hours was crazy. That was so hard, bro.
Domination is more legitimate feminist action than resisting racism and other forms of domination.
I love how we're talking about like oppression and racism, and we're just over here vibing about Phineas and Ferb, like, bro. It's a go-to show.
To end patriarchal domination should be of primary importance to women and men globally, not because it is the foundation of all other oppressive structures, but because it is that form of domination we are more likely to encounter in an ongoing way in everyday life. This involves the insight that we are all participants in perpetuating the system, and so she abandons the misandrous discourse that tends to drive men away from feminism. This inclusivity expands to Hooks' famous contribution to the field, intersectionality. Rather than arguing that all systems of oppression are rooted in the patriarchy, Hooks sees an interlocking system of various oppressions that impact people differently based upon where they are located on the basis of class, sex, race, and gender. To represent the multidimensionality of these relations, she equips the term imperialist, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy. What is one tool to combat these systems of oppression? Hooks places love and communion above and beyond anything else. Because of this, she's also its harshest critic. Hooks sees the female obsession of love as a product of socialization, in the false assumption that we will find love in the place where femaleness is deemed unworthy and consistently devalued. We learn early to pretend that love matters more than anything, when in actuality we know that what matters most, even in the wake of the feminist movement, is patriarchal approval.
Bro, how do we have the explanation for everything and people are still like going with the stupidness, bro? This is what it's about. This is literally it. This is literally, bro.
Feminism requires a new way to think about love, beyond its general advice to stop thinking about it or live as though love does not matter. She sees this as yet another product of oppression, the fear of becoming the woman who loves too much. For Hooks, love is integral to human life and the actualization.
I feel like there's a misconception in the mainstream way of thinking, especially in the age of social media, but you know, I'd say really also the TikTok era where, and I pointed this out the other day, I swear, almost every time I see a video, and this sounds horrible. This sounds really bad. This sounds sexist. I know how it sounds, but hear me out. Because it's true. If you watch any TikTok of a woman explaining something or like telling a story about something, and then you watch another one from a different woman from somewhere else, a different age, whatever, and then like another one, I can almost guarantee they're telling the story in the same way. Like, almost. Maybe not identically, maybe, you know, but that's how it is. And men do it too. We tell stories in the same way, whatever, certain mannerisms we share and things like that. But I feel like it's almost kind of weird in a way how it's like a lot of women, especially in the post mid TikTok era, where everyone's kind of doing the same thing and saying the same thing and whatever. It's like everyone's kind of the same. It's like a lot of carbon copies, and I feel like part of that is because of the thought process, right? I sounded like Busy Bone. you understand where I'm coming from because the thought patterns. But it's like, bro, if we're thinking this one way, where it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying, you a strong man, you independent, you don't need nobody, slay queen, you know what I'm saying, do you, whatever, you know, that's kind of weird. Because at the end of the day, we're human. And like, yeah, you shouldn't live your life trying to, live under the approval of men and whatever. And, like, that's stupid too. But like, you can't just completely excuse something. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about radicalism. Because being on the opposite side radically is horrible too. Like, you got to be somewhere in the middle, man, because that's a sweet spot.
That allows for freedom. Love is a trait.
Because it's something I've noticed, and I've noticed it for a couple of years now, like since 2019. Honestly, maybe that goes in there. I need to look at it. What that mean again? Because I've definitely heard the word. Let's see here. The process of taking in and fully understanding information or ideas. That's basically just saying real, but like you're an intellectual. I like it. Yeah. But what's I saying? Oh yeah, since like 2019, ever since Sammy Lewis was like, here's the in the car with the Starbucks. Ever since then, I feel like a lot of people have just been talking the same and doing the same things and dressing the same and listening to the same music. It feels dystopian, bro. And the worst part about it is it's not that bad yet, and no one's really paying too much attention because it's so normalized. It's literally so normalized. It's normal to be on TikTok all day, every day. It's normal to listen to Chase Atlantic and, wear fishnets and drip, because that's fire. I love goth women. Shout out to goth women. But like, it's also normal to be like, I hate men and, slay queen and whatever. And that's how it is. There's a lot of people that are just the same, It's weird, but that's because they have bad role models, bro. We need more people like Bell Hooks that understand that, like, yo, we need each other and we need to appreciate and respect each other. Once people get that, bro, we gonna be straight. Because the problem, if you think about it, every problem that's rooted in sexism and all that is because of lack of respect and appreciation, bro. If you look at SCOTUS, everybody on SCOTUS, they probably have horrible relationships with their moms, bro. Or they do. They have good relationships, but they from a different era. They old, so I really can't even count them. But if you look at, people that are, like this, they probably have horrible dads that are abusive or whatever, or absent or whatever the situation may be. Or they just have, a really good relationship with their mom, but she didn't have too many role models because her mom was like, putting up with her, husband hitting her, it was the 50s probably. So it's like, it's just weird. Like, we're not where we need to be yet. Nah, for real. Everybody was trying to normalize this, normalize that. Like, bro, if you don't normalize shutting up, like, go somewhere, bro. Or when everybody was saying touch grass, that was a bad era. I'm really glad we're out of that. But something a lot of people don't realize too, though, is TikTok is really just baby Twitter. Everything people talk about on Twitter ends up on TikTok like a month later or like a week later. Literally. Sometimes people just post tweets in video format on TikTok and go viral. Not even their tweets, other people's tweets. It's so weird, bro.
Transformational force demanding of each individual accountability and responsibility for nurturing our growth. It is the basic desire to make our survival a shared effort. For Bell Hooks, she sees this lack of emphasis on love in progressive circles as an over-preoccupation with material concerns. This only further encourages an ethic of domination. She turns back to the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who preached the ethic of love as the one true hope for peace and freedom in the world.
Real.
King believed that love is ultimately the only answer to the problems facing this nation and the entire planet.
Kinda is.
I share that belief and the conviction that it is in choosing love and beginning with love as the ethical foundation for politics that we are best positioned to transform society in ways that enhance the
Oh yeah,
coin.
I forgot. I literally went off topic earlier. And I know there's like a minute left in the video, but bear with me, okay? If everybody truly respected each other, whether they agreed with their beliefs or not, but respected and appreciated each other, I feel like most problems just wouldn't be, because number one, you'd have nothing to be mad at, because people are seeing your beliefs, they understand them, they don't agree with them, but they love and respect and appreciate you to the point where you can do you freely and just be yourself and do you, do whatever you want and live how you want to and kiss who you want to and whatever, as long as you're not hurting people. Like, you know, white supremacy is never going to be respected, you know. But like, other than that, I feel like if that's the case, bro, everything would be straight. If SCOTUS actually appreciated and respected women, they wouldn't have got rid of the right to abortion, because at the end of the day, it's a choice. It's a choice thing, bro. It's not about killing fetuses or murdering babies, as people love to say, even though they don't care when actual children get murdered. They don't care. But it's not about that, bro. It's about the choice, because of other situations and whatever. And because people should have a choice to do whatever they want to, bro. Like, literally. That's the, you know, that's
Kind
tough.
of good.
It's real tough, bro.
Choosing love, we also
need more
choose to live
respect
in
on both
community.
sides, too.
And that means that we do not have to change by ourselves. Although bell hooks may be poorly received as too forgiving in some progressive circles, I believe that her discourse on love, inclusivity, and the turning away from an us versus them mentality is a useful reminder for those who wish to make effective change in a world so bogged down by division, polarization, and hatred.
Exactly, bro. The us versus them mentality does not work, bro. It does not work. And that goes with every problem, whether it's radicalists versus politicians, or, you know, women versus men, or black versus white. Us versus them does not solve any problem. It doesn't. It may seem like it will, but it won't. And that's why I don't really watch Dr. Umar. But, like, bro, we just gotta respect everybody, because that's what it's about, bro. Literally. And that's why certain groups of people are able to coexist and do them simply because they have respect for each other, bro. Literally. That's all it is. Like, you don't even gotta, you know what I'm saying, like I said, agree with their thought processes, or, you know, agree with everything that they say, or read their religious book, or, you know, go to their school, all that stuff. Like, you just gotta respect them, bro. That's all that matters. Once you respect somebody, like, come on, bro, you winning. On God. And not for real, I love his videos, because it's very informative and very, you know, like, you always watch one of his videos and then just start thinking. But, like, exactly, bro. Just mind your business, respect people, and live, bro. We just gotta coexist. That's it. Once we can coexist perfectly, not even perfectly, but better, because we're not really coexisting. We're still in the us versus them mentality in a lot of ways. But once you can coexist, bro, you chilling. And that's something I feel like rap proves that. Because look at Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. And Kanye, I guess, because he up there too. They're able to coexist in a way to where they can have friendly competition and acknowledge each other. But at the same time, they know that they're all different. And they can do them and succeed. And the other person can do them and succeed. And they both be straight. They'll be straight. Like, that's it. A lot of people try to start beef and be like, you know, who's better than who and whatever. But it's like, bro, just let people coexist and do them, and we'll be fine. Like, they'd never really... Drake and Kanye did have beef, but that was on some other stuff. That had to do with a woman and a man and some pillow talking. It's a whole thing. But, like, other than that, when it comes to, like, their professions and them as people at the end of the day, they never really beef, bro. Because they're coexisting. They understand how to coexist. And that's how it is in the rap game. That's how it should be in the rap game for real. Because a lot of people are beefing for no reason. But I'm going too far off.